everybody, we are going to get started with February Club Q. We are going to do the Today's Adventures Together kit. This one I love because it is simple, not a ton to it. We sometimes like to bulk it up with lots of embellishments and stuff, but this one I feel like sometimes it's nice to have just something very simple, easy to put together. So that's what we have today, and we are going to get started. The chalking inks that are suggested are denim and feather gray, but I actually grabbed, I'm going to see how this does. I grabbed deep sea, so I'm going to do a darker blue. But any of the grays, like coal miner, feather gray, river rock is a nice one that is kind of has a little bit of brown in it. Any of the blues, but I just kind of kept it in that color scheme to make this one real simple. To begin with, we are going to do the cutting first. So your two background sheets, we need to cut the tabs off. And then we have a cutting diagram to go by for one of the papers, and then one smaller paper to cut. So we'll bring in our trimmer. And when I do cutting diagrams, I always just sit the diagram right here next to me so I can see it as I cut. I'm going to go ahead and trim off this tab here. So you have two 12 by 12 backgrounds. The smaller piece that we're going to cut is a gray piece. It is a 3 by 12, but we're going to cut it into two 3 by 6 pieces. So we just put this in. It's an easy trim. It's 6 inches, and we cut it in half. So you have two 3 by 6s, and there's actually one that's already cut for you. So put those all together. The paper that we are going to use the diagram for, it has a script on one side and then a little bit of a flourish around the edge on one side. I'm going to cut the tab off at 12 inches and then we will do the diagram. Okay, so for the diagram, the paper, in the diagram, the paper is turned this way where you have the bluish gray at the top there, the bigger one. So if you turn it this way, you can see this smaller one would be up there, but we do the bigger one at the top. And I'm going to, actually, let me think this through here real quick. No, I think the easiest would be to cut this 3.5 inch piece off the bottom first. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to turn this so that this peach part is at the top with the gray flourish right underneath of it. And actually we are going to start with this 3.5 inch piece. So right before I cut, I just wanted to make sure I'm doing it the easiest way possible for you. Yeah, we are going to start here. So let's just cut at 3.5 inches. And at any time, if you need to just pause it and get your cuts correct, just go ahead and pause it and then turn it back on when you need to. So that is a 3.5 inch piece. Then I'm going to turn it so that your bluish gray flourish is there, and cut a 3.5 square. Move it down and do another 3.5 inch square. Okay, so we have these two pieces done. This is leftover, so I would put that in a separate pile. We tell you always to save your scraps because sometimes we use them, but these are just extra, so put that in a separate pile so it doesn't get mixed in. We have two 3.5 by 3.5 pieces. And then we are going to do the 3.5 inch at the bottom here. So we are going to turn it so that the flourish stuff is on the outside here. Your white where you trimmed before is going in this way. And we're going to do another 3.5 inch cut. And then we will turn it and do 3.5, 3.5, and 3.5. So that we have, that would make 5 3.5 inch squares. Okay. Put those in a pile. This is scrap piece left over. And then we'll make the 9 by 2 3/4. So we're going to go ahead and cut out the 2 3/4. Strip. And then just turn that piece and cut it at 9. And this is just a scrap, so put that aside so you don't get it mixed in. And so is this extra strip. These extra pieces are kind of good for cutting into tags or extra photo backers for your page if you want to add something. So go ahead and hang on to those, or throw them away if you want to. So on this piece, we need to score at 1 inch so that we can fold it up to make a pocket. So let's put it in at 1 inch. I'm looking for something to score with. I did not bring my score. I am going to use a credit card. I actually do this at work when I can't find my scorer because my desk is a mess. So I'm going to use a credit card here, and I just put it in along the line and score all the way up to the top. If you have a scorer, even better. And then that is going to fold up like this and make a little pocket for your tags here, your photo backers. Okay? Those are all set. And I think that's all. Oh, actually, so a lot of times I have these trimmed out beforehand, but we want to trim all of the pieces out of your little quote sheet as well. And remember, if you have a little white edge on some of them, it's kind of hard to see exactly where to cut. So if you have a little white edge, it's fine because we can go back in and we can just chalk it up and nobody will ever know that little white edge is there. This piece is bigger than it needs to be. It actually needs to cut into a 5.5 by 7.5. So what I'm going to do is cut on this line and then I'll cut it down to 5.5 and 7.5. So I'll cut right on the edge by that arrow. And then I'm going to turn it and I'm going to go right up this edge here. That's a little bit hard to see. And we want this to be 5.5. So what I'm going to do is actually turn it all the way around and cut it at 5.5 so it cuts off this white piece here. And then it needs to be 7.5 this way, so put it into 7.5 and you'll trim a little bit off the end here. Okay? And again, if it's a little bit off and you can see what's part of the white around the edge, no worries. Just chalk up the edges and make it a little bit messy and nobody will ever know. So 5.5 by 7.5. And then these you can trim out with scissors if you want, or you can use your trimmer. What I normally do with these little banner pieces, trim off the straight edges. And then I take scissors to do the little dove's tail banner piece. Make sure this is actually in the picture here. I trim all the straight edges as close to the edge as I can. And at this point, it might be a little easier to just use scissors on this. Oops, yeah, I'm just going to use scissors. Thought I could get away with that. Trim the edge. And the little dovetails here. And if I'm getting ahead of you at all, just hit pause. What I love about this kit is this is the most difficult part, is actually just cutting the pieces out and punching out the lasers. This is a very simple kit. You don't always do simple. We do a lot of interactive pages and stuff for our classes. But for Club Q, I like to make it very doable at home. Just by the instructions, and then have a nice layout to add your pictures to, and you can have it done very quickly. But if you ever want to do any more of a really, not really intricate, but more involved kits, a lot of times they are for our classes. Like we have a full day of online classes on March 29th that we do live on our Facebook page, so you can purchase the bundle now, and we send you everything you need to be able to follow us live on March 29th. And we walk you through 4 classes step by step. And those are much more interactive pages. So if you are interested, check our website, shopquickquotes.com, and it's under online events. Okay, I am going to punch out this big laser cut here. I tried to put very few notches so that it was easy to get out of there. I'm going to tear this side off actually. And I like this one because it is February kit. And it involves hearts, but it's not super, I don't know if you would call it super girly or cuddly, or I don't know what the word would be. It's very neutral color and a very neutral theme, so you can use it for anyone. Get this set back up. These we are going to be using, but I'm going to take them out so that we can chalk them and put them back in. So don't lose those when you punch out those center pieces. And again, I'm using a much brighter blue. You choose what you would like to use for yours. The first thing we're going to do is actually glue in the heart backer. Actually, I don't think these go behind. Right. I made them so that they go right in the middle, so we could do that after. Originally, I was going to have them go behind. So let's go ahead and put the photo mats together. So this, we'll do this first. So this script that you cut out that was 5.5 by 7.5, we are going to layer the 5 by 7 gray piece on top of it. And again, chalk anything up that you would like. I'm going to do a little bit around the edges of Deep Sea. I kind of like this. It's a little bit bolder than the denim, but if you like the softer blue, then denim would be the way to go. Or a gray, charcoal, coal miner would work too. What did I do with my glue? Well, I lost my glue. Okay, so this goes right on top of here. And if you have your photos, that is awesome. If you do not have your photos on here, you want to make sure when you glue this down, you can go ahead and tuck it in here and glue it down if you want. But make sure when you glue this part down, you're not gluing right here because you'll want to put your photo in behind that. Okay? So if you go ahead and glue this one down, either add your photo or make sure that you don't glue right on top of that. And what I'm going to do is go ahead and chalk up the inside parts. You could glue this right in here. And what I do for this outside circle with the arrows, I just put a little dot of glue in random places on the back side of this to hold it in place. You don't have to have glue on the entire thing. Once you get it into your page protector, it's going to lay flat, so you don't need to, it's pretty small, so you don't need to put glue on the entire thing. Maybe just a few dots here and there and it holds it in place. And then this one, just remember, don't glue it all the way down. If you want to glue it in, maybe put just a little dot of glue here so that you can still slide your picture in behind that. And this heart as well, maybe just a small dot so that you can peel this back up if you need to put a picture in behind it. Oh, I actually really like this blue with this. Feather gray would make it look really soft too. You can also mix them. I would just do the lighter color first so you're not messing with the pads on your ink pad. I'm going to actually do these a little bit too. Add some blue. And these you can put in any order you like. What I did on the kit was just with a little paper piercer, put a little hole here and put a brad in the top of it. And then you get those in place how you want them. And this is your page, so if you do not want them where they are in the picture, you just be creative, put them wherever you want to. After you have a picture on, you may want to put them down here, which would be really cute too. Like that. So totally up to you. Whatever works for you. And you could always use a different color too. If you don't want gray and blue and you want to spice it up with a little red or pink or something like that, that would look really nice as well. That's what's great about this page, is that there's even the colors that are on here are very soft colors. You could add almost anything to it, or you could use the other side of the paper, and there's no color on there at all, so you could chalk up the edges to make it the colors that you want. Okay, on page 2, so that was super simple. Page 1, done. On page 2, you can chalk up the edges if you want to. I'm just going to go down the edge and then a little bit around the corners. Add a little dimension, extra color. And this will go in the center of page 2. I'm going to check here and make sure that I need to move this up a little bit. Okay, center of page 2. And then we will get your 5 pieces here. And these you can line up however you want. I have 3 on this side, 2 on this side, but if you don't want to cover up this arrow, you can always just tuck one in behind that. You can put one just here. I have 2 going here. So it's totally up to you how you want to do it. I'm going to chop them up a little bit, but again, you can use the other side. And if you want to use a pink or a red or, you know, add a little brighter colors to it, you definitely have that option to be able to do that. And then you put these in any order you would like. I'm going to try and line this up like I have on the actual page kit directions, but you do it however it fits for you. And actually, I think I already got it messed up, so I'm just going to grab whatever's here. Most of this will be covered up anyway once you get your pictures in there. Get those lined up how you would like. And in the instructions, I actually have it covering up a little bit of the heart. I'm going to try something else and do maybe like this. And this behind it, maybe? Depending on the pictures that you have. You don't want to cover up too much of the picture. But that's kind of cute with the arrow coming out. And that's also why I put just a few dots of glue around. It doesn't need to be totally glued down. Or you can just cover up that arrow, just like I did in the picture. Okay, the next piece would be your quote, "Today's adventures together are happy memories." And put a little blue in that. I'm doing the top for sure because I didn't cut it all the way down and there's a little white space, which you can always cover up with a little bit of messy chalking ink. That goes just above then your pocket. And for your pocket, you want to make sure, and just when you flip this up, just barely glue the edge here on each side so that it makes a pocket. If you glue it all the way down, you won't be able to stick your tags into it. That gets centered just above. Each of these get a brad through that little hole. I'm going to just barely chalk the top. And it gets glued just a little bit along the edge here and goes to the top like this. And tucks into your pocket. Another brad on the top there. Tuck into the pocket. And your last one. And tuck into the pocket. And then you can kind of rearrange these however with your pictures in it. And that kit is done. Very, very simple kit to put together, but I think it's gorgeous once it has pictures on it. There's also some extra pieces that you had here left over. If you wanted to, you could chalk all these up, put them in somewhere for add some extra photos. If you don't have a large photo here and you just want to put a small one here, you could even add this for an extra photo. Extra pieces, even down here. Totally up to you. I hope you enjoyed this kit. It's a little bit different than just a traditional Valentine's February kit, and I think it could work for almost any theme. Hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for being a Club Q member, and we'll see you next time.